I think it says so much that the concern about anarchism is that it could devolve back into something like government, right? Like, oh no, we can't have freedom because we might end up with the system we have now.
We have been waiting for the Hail Mary pitch of the national media just deciding to give us a bunch of attention and let us on the debate stage, and then we get to catapult to the White House. It's not going to happen.
And we say things like, you know, what all Americans want is freedom. That's not true. We made that up. That's absolutely not true.
We need to agree on this one thing, and we need to go in there and hand these politicians their asses and say, you're done, we're in, and we're dismantling this money system, and we're going to bring the government back to the American people. And then once we give it back to the American people, guess what? The American people are going to decide what kind of society they want to live in.
Because the left started World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam. Those are all started by Democrats. Vietnam is only because they didn't want to go, because there was a draft.
You're Luke Skywalker, man. Tell me something important. Teach me something that matters that I don't know, you know, or show me you're leading somebody else. And especially, I'm sorry, but like, we're the Empire killing the Sand People here and shit. Like, this is so obvious, Luke.
They tried to get people canceled back then. They got some people canceled, but, you know, it was mostly politicians. It was mostly people in power. And when you play a power game, when you decide you're going to be a Machiavellian, I mean, you expect to get your throat slit at some point, metaphorically. And, so, no, this is completely different. This is going after, like, regular people.
As long as people look at other people as people, and we can remember and think about our humanity, and our individualism, then I think that people are inherently good. And I think it takes outside forces to otherize people.
Like, why are we here? Why are we here? Because we care about these real issues, because these are real human beings who are suffering, whose lives are being ruined. Let's try to come together and brush some of this stuff off and deal with these really important issues. Because all this other stuff is like symptoms. It's symptoms of the central problem. And unless you solve the central problem, then we'll be fighting over Mr. Potato Head forever.
Hello, everyone. Happy Monday night. Welcome to Fighting Friends, Friends for Unity, Uniting for Liberty. We still don't know what the name of the show is yet. We're actually going to be doing a complete rebrand that you guys are going to have a say on Twitter. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to just do Twitter polls for the whole thing because I don't know what people like to see anymore. I've made so many logos that I'm running out of ideas, and I didn't even have any talent to begin with in that area. So welcome to the show. We have a fantastic show for you guys tonight. Stacia is going to be here in a bit. Then we have Harrison Kemp, co-founder of Free Speech Media, of which we are live on right now. He's also the author of A Parasite's Paradise, which is a fictional novel that he is going to be talking about a little bit later tonight. So we've got that for you. If you are watching on Twitter or on YouTube and you're seeing that link for Free Speech Media in the comments, the link tree there, click on that. Go to Linktree/Free Speech Media Network. Go watch this on DLive. If you are watching this not on DLive, because DLive is going to earn you crypto and it's going to earn us crypto, and you can help support the content creators that you like to watch if you're watching us on DLive. So go watch Free Speech Media. That's where I will be live almost all of the time. So go watch me there when you see me going live. Then you can go to the YouTube channel and watch everything after that. So this applies to the Fight for Liberty stuff too. If you watch me on there, I will be going live on the DLive and the Trovo for Free Speech Media from now on. But we're going to have Harrison on in a bit. We're going to talk about that a little bit more when that happens. We're going to talk about, we're going to recap the weekend with Stacia. We're going to talk about some white pills for unity and just the sake of the country. So it'll be a good time. So I'm glad you guys are all here. So my weekend was very, very chill. I spent almost zero time online this weekend. I spent zero time on social media this weekend, give or take a little bit. I still have all of my notifications for all of my social media apps turned off, and that includes Facebook Messenger. So if you guys are trying to get a hold of me, it's Signal, not Twitter. I have been responding to my Twitter DMs today. I had it open on my desktop, but that's neither here nor there. I'm curious how you guys feel about this green screen. I don't like it. I'm going back to the old school one. This one's way more my style, New York. But I'm hoping that you guys all had a great weekend. Liberty is doing great this weekend, from my experience at least. I've just had so many encouraging experiences over the weekend, both online or just leading up into the weekend online, and then in person, and then just today. And I'm having a great time. I hope you guys are too. One thing that I want to tell you guys about specifically is the new affiliate program that I am a part of for a wonderful company called Nug of Knowledge. And so I'm going to throw my screen up here for you guys so that you guys can see what I'm talking about, because this is dope. All right, so we've got Nug of Knowledge right here. They are, there we go. They are a cannabis retailer. They sell CBD, CBG, and Delta 8 THC. So they are 100% legal. You can buy this all online from the comfort of your own home. No need to go out onto any street corners with this. So they have both. We can come over here. They have both flower and they have Delta 8 THC cartridges. So you can fulfill a lot of your cannabis needs right here. And again, legally, this is the great thing about the Delta 8 loophole that we have, thanks to Donald Trump. We are able to purchase THC legally online, have it shipped to our houses, and we even have some cute apparel. But the thing is, Nug of Knowledge, it is not all about just getting stoned and, pot leaves all over the place. We're really trying to make sure that we have the cleanest product, that we have some just on-brand marketing for those of us that really are using this for the medicine that it is. So Nug of Knowledge is the place to go for that. And if you go on there, nugofknowledge.com, and you go into the cart and you go and buy something, you use promo code UNITE, you can get 10% off of your first order there. So go ahead and do that, guys, because that would be super duper awesome. We have Ms. Stacia up in the house, though.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. We're just selling weed online. So that's the thing that I went downstairs after my meeting with the affiliate program, and I was like, I'm organizing a pyramid scheme to sell weed on a podcast. This is the best. Like, I'm living my best life possible. This is just, I can't think of a more fitting thing for David Fight to be doing in the year 2021. Right?
Nice.
How was your weekend?
Good. I guess it was a weekend. I was working I don't know. I feel like, yeah, like if you're an entrepreneur, sometimes weekdays are days off and often weekends are not. So
Yeah, weekends are kind of a joke. Or feel
yeah,
that.
I mean, but I prefer it that way, right? Like depending
Mhm.
on how you feel or, what opportunities, like if people are doing fun stuff on a weekday, you can potentially go,
For sure. Yeah, I'm a fan of the completely randomized schedule.
right?
And
Yeah.
you get to plan things ahead of time. I love it when people are like, "Hey, what are you doing on like May 23rd?" I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like,
Right.
I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. What do you mean? What am I doing on May 23rd?
Same.
But it
Struggle
does.
planning ahead.
Yeah, it does allow you to really like book yourself up because you say yes. Sometimes you say yes to things and forget to write them down. I don't know if you do that, but I like
Oh.
double book myself a lot because I'm just
Oh.
like, yeah, I don't, yeah, I think I'm fine. And then I say yes to like 2 things that are at the same time in a month. And then, so
Oh,
that's a
no.
problem. I do have a paper calendar I use most of the time though.
Yeah, same. We were talking about that the other day, how we both use
Mhm.
paper calendars.
Yeah.
I really like paper, even for planning or ideas or all of that, or even numbers. I just like paper.
I
So-
literally have a bulletin board on my wall where
nice.
I hang up like 7 or 8 different clipboards that are like different. So each thing that I'm involved in has its own clipboard. So like the Stacy Pressman campaign has a clipboard, and Fight for Liberty has a clipboard, and all of the caucuses have a clipboard, and the finance company has a clipboard, and other things have clipboards. And so every like to-do lists and projects and notes for meetings are all like kept on those clipboards until they're not needed anymore, and they just like come on and off. It's the only way I've been able to keep the like 9 projects that I'm on at a time organized, because I end up having just one to-do list that's like a million things.
Yeah, struggle.
Yeah.
I don't know how you juggle so many different things. I mean, I do like maybe 4 at a time, but yeah.
It always keeps me never having to do anything I don't want to do at any given time, basically. So my thing is, if there's a bunch of random little tasks that I have to do and I'm like, I don't want to do that one, there's like 7 others I can choose from to do it and justify not doing the one that I didn't want to do. So then eventually I get back in the mood to do whatever that one task was that I didn't want to do, and then I do it. So
nice. It's a good system.
It almost always works. Sometimes I don't ever want to go back and do that other task though.
Right. Yep. I was thinking, I feel like we need music for this show. I don't know. I mean, because the show. Also, I was thinking maybe we could talk about what this show is. I don't know if you want to do this on air. We didn't really make a plan. But I remember, so I remember after I did the first time on Fight for Liberty, then you were like, hey, do you want to be a co-host? And I was like, I'll think about it. And then you were like, let's do a show every Monday. And then it became, what was the name?
It was Fighting Friends. But I talked to a bunch of people over the weekend, including you, and I hated the fact that my name was in it because like Reed is on every week except for this week. And I think that's gonna keep up for the most part. Like him and I are really enjoying doing that together. You've been on most of the time. You have a little bit more crazy of a schedule than either him or I do. But yeah, I definitely like I felt like a dick like having it be named after me when it was like a 3-person show. So I wanted to rebrand it. And also wanted to kind of, scope out what we were talking about, because I don't think the liberty movement needs another podcast, but what is needed is a place where just like friendly, fun conversation about actual life is happening, where we can talk, like we were talking earlier, where we could talk about like anxiety issues and like music and dancing and things that are happening. And today we have a fictional author on for the second
really?
half. So
Nice.
fun things. He's also a state organizer for the Mises Caucus and the co-founder of Free Speech Media. But he's the author of a fun book that I haven't gotten to read yet, but he'll come on and talk about that. So I just wanted something that wasn't what Reed and I do, and even yourself, like you're delved into the news and like researching like really like critical thinking stuff, and I just wanted it to be a little bit more like cultural was kind of where I was at.
Cool. Well, yeah, that's why I was like, I think I can hop on. Like, I know I'd said I probably couldn't make it today, but because I'm like need to rest, but also feel like it would be fun to let off some steam, or I don't know. Like, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think like all three of us definitely can use some time where we are just having a conversation that isn't about our careers specifically or super like intense debates or like thought like conflicts of ideals and shit. Like I want to know what like song you found this weekend that like really made you like jam out.
Well, not this weekend, but although I've been listening to a lot of Spanish music because like when I'm tired or, it's like has good energy, so it's been, and you can't listen to it and not be happy. I mean, I found one that made me think of you.
I don't know if that's a good thing. Shit.
I mean, I think you will like it. Maybe, I don't know.
All right, well, send it to me. I will be glad to listen. Okay. My dad actually, he started listening to a new like satellite radio station in the car, and has found a couple of songs that he likes. But one of them he showed me came from a really, really good album that I also really like, and the whole album is pretty good. There's like a couple of songs where I'm kind of like meh, but one of them is called Hypotheticals, and it's actually really cute. But the second one is literally called Hush Money, and I'm 90% sure it's about the stimulus check. Because the album came out this year, and it's basically like the chorus is like, let me get some of that hush money because I've got things to say, something like that. And I was like, I actually tweeted at the artist, I was like, is this about the stimulus check? I think this is about the stimulus check. Please tell me this is about the stimulus check.
That's funny. Oh, speaking of political songs that have come out in the last year, did you hear the song about Trump?
Which one?
Right. Okay. I only know about one. I assume there are others. Let's see. It's like such a good song, but I would never. So I normally DJ. I don't know if I told you that. But I would never play it at a dance because, there might be Trump. I mean, there are probably going to be Trump supporters there, and it's like brutal. But so
can we play it? It might be copywritten.
Yeah,
we probably can't play it on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. I'll need to find it.
Okay, we'll add it to the comments later. Eventually, for those of you that rewatch this on YouTube.
Yeah. Sounds good. Now I really want to find it.
Yeah, I feel that obsessiveness.
Right. And like I haven't really listened to it since I found it. Anyway, sorry, you can keep talking.
Can relate though. So my favorite band actually just came out with a new album 2 weeks ago. Yeah, actually exactly 2 weekends ago, because I trip acid every 2 weeks, and I did it last time that they came out with an album, and one of their songs, it's called 3 o'clock things, which is it's a very good song in general, but one of the albums one of the songs, it starts out, it's funny how you vote for someone to vote for someone to vote for someone, and you might end up with someone evil, but you say that he means well.
What?
And it goes on to say something that I really can't relate with at all, because my life is wrapped up in politics, but it actually kind of like makes me feel good that there are people that can relate. Because the next line is, if I keep talking politics, my friends will dip, they're over it.
I get it.
And and then it's, if I keep talking politics, I'm Hamilton without the hits.
Wow, so many political songs.
Yeah, it's all of my. So I literally have a list on Twitter called Enlightened Musicians that are just like all of my favorite artists that sing songs that like are above and beyond like the culture war bullshit, or just the like petty like self-obsessed stuff, and like the typical like random love songs or club songs, like, you know, just stuff that's not just about life, like stuff that's above and beyond, like thought-provoking with lyrics that matter. And that's almost all I listen to now. It's like, it's either instrumental, like completely meaningless, like either barely any, like no meaning to the words at all, or it's like super deep, and there is no in between.
Interesting.
What about you? Have you found anything new that you like lately, other than songs about Trump?
No, not really. Haven't been finding much new music. Yeah, just going back to a lot of old favorites and stuff. Yeah, kind of a bummer. Need to find some new stuff, but
hey,
yeah.
Flashbacks and nostalgia are not a bummer, not at all. So I feel you. I just went back to A Day to Remember. I added a bunch of their songs to my music library the other day, who I haven't listened to since like middle school. They're like a heavy metal, like early 2000s, like kind of punk metal band that I listened to. Yeah, in like middle school, junior high.
Nice.
Yeah, kind of super old school for me. But yeah, so my weekend, I didn't do anything this weekend. I took the entire weekend off and tripped acid and did nothing.
Made cookies, right?
I did. Oh yes, I did make cookies. Those things were bomb. Those things had like white chocolate inside and drizzled on top with like, oh yeah, they were so good. They tasted. There's still a couple left. You can come have some if you want.
I don't like white chocolate or dark chocolate. I just don't like chocolate very much.
You racist.
No, but it's both. It's equal.
So,
actually, I like
you
dark
just
chocolate
like brown people in the middle. You just like milk chocolate. So you just like brown people, not black people
No,
or white people.
I just don't like chocolate so much.
You just hate
know.
all humans. There we go.
I like nuts.
No comment.
Said what I said.
Yeah. So yeah, I really think that the unplugging thing is like necessary. I really want to keep up this like every 2 weekends thing of just a complete unplug for like 24 to 48 hours. It was so great, and I missed so much drama. Like, I came back to so many DMs that were like, oh, did you see this? Did you hear about this? Did you know about that? And I was like, nope, I didn't. And I don't have to.
Yeah.
I got to dodge
Ignorance.
that Kentucky LP tweet that everyone was all up in arms about, that I literally had Dave Smith on my show to talk about, but I missed the whole hubbub about that because like I just wasn't there. I wasn't on Twitter. That wasn't this weekend. That was earlier, but I was doing kind of a similar thing that day. That was like a week ago. And yeah. Have you done that at all? Like just like taking a couple of days off where you just unplugged?
Maybe not in a while. I don't know why it feels especially hard to do it in quarantine. I don't know. Because, you know, like when you're nomading, sometimes you're just like too busy having adventures. You know, it's easy to unplug sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. In quarantine, it feels kind of like lonely and boring to unplug, which is maybe good. But I don't know.
Yeah, I
really
definitely was. I'm worried about how difficult it's been to unplug the last couple of times that I've really forced myself to, because it's, yeah, like you're saying, there's nothing to do. And you feel so much like, or at least I do, I feel like everyone is super accessible during quarantine. And so you have to also be super accessible during quarantine.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like everyone has their phones out. Everyone's like on Zoom. Everyone's like watching each other's YouTube shows. Everyone's on Twitter. Everyone's everywhere. So you gotta be too. Like you don't really have an excuse. Like, and everyone's doing it, and it's just kind of like culture right now. Is like everyone's just plugged in because we can't be in person. So we're just plugged in.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point. There's extra pressure. I noticed like you unplugged and Griff unplugged for a little bit, and both of you like notified everyone. You were like, I am going away for a while. And I was like, whoa, we have so much pressure that people feel like they need to tell us, like, I'm not going to be on my phone, you know?
Yeah, I feel terrible. Like, and even though I did that, I still came back, and there was a couple of people that I was like, "Hey, sorry, I unplugged for the weekend." Like almost every text that I answered, I started out with like, "Hey, sorry," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, no, I'm not sorry. Fuck you. Like you texted me on the weekend. It's your own damn fault. Like don't text me on the week. Well, do text me on the weekend normally, but like this particular weekend, I didn't answer." I think not answering isn't like a capital pun or like a capital crime, right? And we kind of have that attitude in society that one should be shunned for not responding to a text message.
Do we?
Maybe not shunned, but like you feel bad. Like you feel like there's
you do feel bad. Sure.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they're just like leaving me undelivered for like 3 days, like
or leaving me on red.
Yeah, that's even worse. Honestly, I really try not to do that because then I will actually forget to respond. I really try not to leave people on red. Like that one's because I will definitely forget to respond if I open the message.
Yeah, I have a bunch of messages I haven't responded to from like way back. All right. Let's not think about it.
Yeah. It's crazy how our generation was able to take social anxiety and then create devices to make sure that anxiety never leaves us even when we're alone.
Right? Good job, us.
Homeschooler high five. Like, oh my gosh. But seriously though.
I would
What?
Yes. Later we should talk about homeschool.
Oh, right.
But first, we can talk about social media anxiety if you want.
We can pivot to homeschooling. Do you have a question on the topic or a specific discussion
Not a
point?
question. I don't know. I was just thinking. I wonder. They say things about homeschoolers. Like, have you heard this thing?
Quote, they say things about homeschoolers.
They do.
Which specific things are you talking about? The ones where we're retarded or super smart or like socially inept or like
Socially inept
geniuses?
for sure. I feel like that's a common one.
So I actually super challenge the notion that homeschoolers as a whole are socially inept. I believe, or I would.
Well, I was hoping we were the exception. Like, I was hoping we would disprove that together,
Well,
or maybe prove it.
I mean, meeting all of the public schoolers that I've met, like the kind of like social anxiety and depression and like the kind of stuff like that I've fought, that's definitely not unique to homeschoolers in any way, shape, or form. On top of that, I have met like a lot of public schoolers, and even like when I was in school, and then like I was friends with a lot of homeschoolers, and I would say that if we're talking about ratios, like there are definitely a lot more homeschoolers that I know that are like super outgoing, like socially, like normal people, like are above average, and very few people that are below average. And most of those people are like actually have some sort of learning disability, and that's why they were homeschooled to begin with.
Oh, interesting.
So like a lot of people who are socially inept get homeschooled for reasons, right? Like logical reasons.
I see. Hadn't thought of that actually.
But yeah, like if you really think about, as long as the people aren't like sheltering their kids and like keeping them home all the time. Like I did co-op programs. So every Tuesday, for 2 separate sets of 8 weeks every year, I went to a thing at the church with like 25 other families where we did like gym and art and like other things that were necessary for like other people, or like things maybe individual parents couldn't teach as well. Like my mom did something on like biology and accounting because my mom's good at both of those things, and like my mom sucks at art, so there was some like actual fucking artists who are parents that like taught us art shit. And then I was also in Boy Scouts and youth group and a whole bunch of other things. And I had a lot of friends because of those things who are in public school, and just comparing experiences. I don't get why there would even be the idea that homeschoolers are like less socially capable, because we have to make friends. Like we have to go out of our way to make friends. Otherwise we don't have friends, right? Like we don't get thrown into rooms with other kids, like the same kids for like 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
On top of that, we don't get thrown into a room for 8 hours a day and told when we can stand up, sit down, and when we can pee. Like,
yeah.
So there's some fun things going on in the comments.
Oh, we have comments?
Yeah, some douchebag is in there talking shit. My acquaintance.
Wait, and it's from 2 different accounts too.
Right, I love that part of it too, because it's on 2 different streaming platforms. So he's really diversifying my viewership. So I actually appreciate that. Thank you, Austin. You're a good friend. So yeah, and then I had a lot of good friends, and the person that I was talking to about the other day, who's in a new band that I just found, like my old childhood friend, like I was over at his house by like between 2 to 3 in the afternoon, sometimes earlier than that, like 3 days a week. Done with school, just hanging out, just doing random stuff with him and his brother, and sometimes like other friends of ours. Like we had so much more fun and so much more like social like stuff going on because we had that freedom of schedule, and we also were like self-sufficient in our work and really like in learning. I'm a huge fan of homeschooling if you are a capable parent. That's like the caveat I will put on it. I will not homeschool my kids. I couldn't do that.
Why?
What?
Like what quality?
Patience, first of all.
I see.
My mom does not have that. And I will actually I'll be very
yeah.
kind to my mother in this part of the conversation, but my mom has a very short fuse. She's a little bit stubborn. There were just issues going on. So like there was a time growing up where like her and I were getting into arguments like, every day, where like her and my sister and me, we were just like, there would just be arguments. My sister was crying like constantly, like, and she's 5 years older than me, by the way. So like it was just not always great because we all kind of like had really short tempers. We all had anger management issues. Like I've grown out of it. My mom's grown out of it mostly. My sister has grown out of it somewhat. But like when I was growing up, we were all really bad at that stuff. And I knew them both very well. I knew how to push their buttons. My mom's buttons were really easy to push. Again, she was like really stubborn, and like school was something that I wasn't going to like agree to disagree on because we're talking like test scores. Like I would say something, she would say I was wrong, and I would say, but it's in the textbook, and she's like, well, but it's in the answer key, and I'm like, but the answer key is wrong. And then we would start arguing, and then I would actually like, go off on her because I know how to like, again, I knew how to push her buttons, so I would like actually push her buttons and like make her go off on me, because if I could get her mad at me, she would send me to my room, and then I would get to just play and screw around instead of doing my school. So it was just like this really terrible like system of reward. So like if you can't handle if you can't handle 8 straight hours with your kid, and if you can't handle compartmentalizing parenting and teaching, I wouldn't suggest it. I'm a very big fan of like private cooperative education. I like the idea of like 2 or 3 parents teaching like 5 families worth of kids, like that type of a setup within like a neighborhood I've seen work really, really, really well. And that's kind of what I'm super into, because then the parents can kind of specialize at what they do, and there's always like somebody to take a kid off by themselves and like give them some one-on-one time if they need it. And it's like I think a little bit of community around it is a little bit better than homeschooling. But if you're a good parent and you think you have a strong bond with your kid, or you're trying to move around and don't have the ability to do that, and you want to do homeschooling, there's a lot more technology available for you now than when I was in school. So it's a lot better, a lot easier, and you actually barely have to do it. You have to do.
I did online school for high school at the end. Yeah.
As a parent, you like barely have to teach anymore. But
yep.
So what kind of which curriculum did you use?
The one my mom
Never mind.
had me
that's
do.
a random ass question. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm a nerd. I remember all of this shit. I was excited to go to like the homeschooling conventions as a kid. It was so much fun. Yes, I'm a nerd. Judge me if you want.
Yeah, I think it was some sunshine something. I don't know. I really don't know. Because I only did homeschool here and there, like mostly when my family was traveling around. So it was,
That makes sense. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to actually help set up a more encompassing, like free, like open source kind of education system for people who are traveling around with their kids, and also for like kids that work. I think is a big group of people that their lives are not done like to the best of their abilities. Their educations, whether they're like rich or not, it's not like something that works out super well at the moment. So, there's a lot of like child actors and, other jobs like that where or even like, 16, 17-year-olds who are still in high school who have to go get a job. Like that age group is really like fucked right now. Like the way that the system works still based off of like some 1930s stuff. Like it's very difficult for them to multitask with the laws and the education structure the way it is. I'd really love to figure out a way to solve that for people that age, but that's going to be after we all get rich.
I mean, I feel like my online school would have worked. It was super flexible. There were no deadlines. Yeah, it was nice, but also a problem. Like it was literally totally just do it at your own pace. But yeah.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. I would never get anything done.
Yeah, I mean, I did graduate, so it did happen. But yeah. But I mean, I feel like it would work if you were working, Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. I've come to find out that there's a lot of really cool things. Sorry.
I feel like I need a player. Oh, yes, go ahead.
I have come to find out that there are a lot of cool things already in existence that I don't have to build. I keep wanting to build things, and then I look them up, and they already exist, and I'm like, "Fuck yeah, is dope."
Are you drunk?
No, I mean,
no,
that's
not,
just
not you. I'm sorry.
no. What up, Archaics kids?
I'm sorry. You were saying something. I got distracted.
You got distracted by drunk people in the comments.
Yeah. You also kind of don't have hair right now. You're like,
I'm trying to figure
you're
out
fading into the abyss a little bit.
I'm trying to figure out the sweet spot here because either
there you are.
Yeah.
That's it.
Either there's too much like either the green screen isn't filled in or I'm fading and I can't find the sweet spot. It's being obnoxious. But we'll figure it out eventually.
Probably when the show's over. You'll be like perfect for that.
Perfect. It's just right there. Oh my gosh, only mostly drunk. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in thus far. If you are watching on YouTube or Twitter or something like that, check the comment section for the link tree because you should be going and watching us live on Free Speech Media on DLive because then you can earn crypto that you can donate to your favorite content creators, and we earn crypto as your favorite content creators. So go do that. That's a thing. It's right in the comments. I'll throw it up here though, if my thing would work correctly. Hold on. I'll help you guys.
I had no idea. Do I also earn crypto as
Yeah.
Okay.
Boom. Linktree up in those comments. Click on that. Go watch us on DLive so that you can help us earn crypto. And there's a whole bunch of other cool people on that network. So go log into there every day. We're up there 7 days a week. You also have awesome shows like Don't Quote Me on This with Bill Barger, The Naturalist Capitalist with Reed Coverdale. We've got The Fix for New York with Emmanuel Torres. Super fun times. And we have one of the co-founders of Free Speech Media coming on for the second hour, Harrison Kemp. So it's going to be fun. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But I'm excited about DLive, and I'm excited about like other things. There's a couple of them. There's also Float that we're working on getting up and running, and there's a couple other sites. We're really trying to facilitate the exodus off of YouTube, because fuck the Alphabet Company and Google and YouTube. They all suck. Like, it sucks. The whole conglomerate sucks. So go support other things that aren't that. But we're still going to stream on those things until until it's not absolutely necessary to become famous.
Do it.
How do you feel about the evil tech conglomerate, Stacia?
Wow, what a question. I am against evil.
Wow,
that is my stance.
Wow, that was beautiful. That was such a beautiful response. I actually, Are you sure you're not a politician? That was such a clean response, man.
And I stand by it.
Clean and principled. Gotta.
I'm becoming such a libertarian.
But it exists sometimes. True that. So I was talking to Jess Mears on the show a little bit ago, and we were talking about Clubhouse and how since we're talking about like social media, social anxiety, we were talking about how like Clubhouse is basically the worst of it possible. Have you felt the same?
Yes, I was really into it for a few days, and just, I mean, well, I feel like I spent 4 hours waiting to say something one of those days, and then I don't think I actually got to say it. And then just stuff like that happens so many times. Or you finally get to talk, and then you're like, oh my God, I have like 2 seconds to make my point real fast. And, and you've been waiting hours to talk. So then you have to make all your points all at once somehow. I have like notes from some conversations where I wanted to make points, and I was like taking notes on all the points, and then I didn't get to talk, or I was only able to make one of the points, or, I thought they were good points that I wanted to bring up next time, but there hasn't been a next time. Yeah.
Has that been your? Yeah. I definitely I have the issue that I don't like butting into conversation.
Right.
It's definitely some fucked up like self-deprecating mentality that's probably incorrect in most people. Not to be like super prideful, but like a lot of people would probably lie to me at least and tell me that I'm being an idiot with this. That like you feel like what you have to say probably isn't as important as what like Justin Amash or Eric Brakey or Matt Kibbe is saying, right? Like,
in groups like that,
yeah. And honestly, I don't really go onto Clubhouse unless there's somebody like that in a room. Like, I just I don't like it enough to go on there unless somebody that I follow from the Liberty Movement is on Clubhouse, or I'm really bored. I'm not really on it. So it's usually something in like Matt's group with like one of those people, or like Hannah Cox or Jack Hunter, someone in that group, because they will bring me up onto the stage so I get to talk if I'm in one of those groups, and so that's why it's fun for me. I'm not a huge fan of just going on to listen.
I started with that. It's pretty fun. I like there's rooms with like millionaires and billionaires giving advice to people. It's really cool. They're just like giving out business advice. So those are nice to listen. Yeah.
I will do that. I've also gone into a couple of like musician rooms, like ones where they're playing like concerts and stuff like that. I've done that a few times.
I went into a room with a Uyghur woman, sharing her experience. That was one of the most interesting ones. because she, there was a translator, and so she would talk, and then the translator would come on and translate, and it was just super like raw and real, and it just made the Uyghur situation seem so close and imminent. It was really powerful.
Wow.
Yeah. And sad.
And sad?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really easy to pretend that like stuff like that isn't going on because we don't see it that often. We really don't see it here almost at all. But it's really difficult to remember that that's a thing that's going on in some places.
Yeah. Yeah. Got so dark.
Man.
Sorry.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow. So just a little bit of genocide into the conversation, just to liven up the mood, guys. Just a sprinkle.
I'm trying to decide if I want to go further into that or redirect.
Yeah, it's has the damage already been done, and we just go hard and heavy on the. Ooh, yeah, not gonna finish that sentence though. Mm-mm.
Oh shit! Oh.
Ooh, are you okay?
I got excited.
Got a little too excited there.
I actually keep getting tangled up in these.
I hate headphones. They're the worst.
Right? Yeah. I washed my AirPods in the washing machine, so I have to get a new pair.
Damn.
Very sad.
That's sad. Yeah. Man. Well, here's to getting rich, so that's never a problem anymore.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So what was your favorite fictional book series growing up?
Oh, wow. Fictional book series. I mean, I don't know why the first one that comes to mind is the Boxcar Kids. I was kind of into being homeless. I can remember multiple books about being homeless that I just loved.
My Side of the Mountain?
Oh, that sounds familiar. I probably read that. I don't remember the names of books that well, but there was one about a homeless guy and some kids, and I don't know how to describe it.
That sounds more like you were reading about something else.
No, he was really nice. He was.
I'm sure he was.
Was he a guy or a girl? I think he was a guy. Very vague memories. This is a great book.
Did you just assume their gender?
Oh, might have. I forgot that was a thing. Oh man, we're getting such criticism. We need to up our. We need some Spanish music. We need dance party. We need energy. We need to please the people.
We need to. Are you not entertained by the glitching fucking background behind me? You're doing this to me right now. I'll never understand this green screen software because it always glitches out super heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But oh well, there we go. Works for me.
So one of my all-time favorite books is the Scarlet Pimpernel. Have you ever read it?
I have not read it. No.
It's awesome. Should I spoil it or
go
just
for it? Spoiler alert, y'all.
Spoiler alert, Scarlet Pimpernel. If you haven't read it and want to read it, which you should read it, cover your ears. So it's set in France and England during the French Revolution. And so people are the aristocrats are being guillotined. And genocide. We're back.
Genocide.
And so then there's this guy named the Scarlet Pimpernel who is sneaking the French aristocrats out, like, to save their lives. And no one knows who he is. And so they send a spy to England, because I don't know if they assume or they know he's an Englishman. And so they go to try and track him down in England. And there's a French woman who married an English guy and lives in England. And they recruit her to, like, help them track down this guy. Because she's like she's in like in aristocratic circles, so they assume that he's like a wealthy, you know, aristocrat or something, and so she's an insider and she's French, so they, you know, recruit her. I'm not sure I want to spoil it because it's like
You've actually got me super intrigued, so I might actually go read it. Like, this sounds
really good.
interesting. So I actually bought a new book today. It's not really a book though. It's like, because I hesitate calling it a book. What is it? Well, it's called the U.S. Constitution and Other Famous Works or Important Works or something like that. But it's everything from the Mayflower Compact to Obama's address after the killing of Osama bin Laden. So it's got, you know, it's got the Mayflower, like I said, Mayflower Compact, Articles of Confederation, Declaration of Independence, the whole Constitution, the entire Federalist Papers, Washington's inaugural, the Bill of Rights, Jefferson's inaugural, like fucking everything. It's like this thick, all bound in leather with like really cool. It's dope. It's still downstairs though. I forgot to bring it in. But I'm very stoked because it's like everything that I've been meaning to read all in one book that I can just take with me while I'm traveling. Because it's not much bigger than just my copy of the Federalist Papers.
Is it super thick? I don't know how thick the Federalist Papers.
I mean, Federalist Papers. I thought they were right next to me. Huh. I thought they were on this bookshelf. Oh well, they must be on that one. It's not that big, but
Okay.
but it's not that small either. Like, it's still, because that copy is fairly large print, so it's still a sizable book. So I'm very excited about that. That one's
Nice. Politics.
Yep. Always back
So
to
fun.
politics.
So fun.
So I feel you on the homeless thing. So I also big fan of Boxcar Children. My Side of the Mountain, just a book about this kid who like goes and like lives on a mountain. Basically, he just like runs away from home.
I'm sure I've read that. Yeah.
Hatchet by Gary Paulson.
That sounds.
It's a book about this kid who he's on a biplane, like just like a 2-person like biplane to go visit his dad in Canada for like the holidays or for like the summer or whatever, and his mom like gives him a hatchet as like a gift, as like a parting gift. He like puts it on his belt and they like go on the plane, and then the pilot has a heart attack mid-flight and they crash land like in a lake, and so like he gets out of the plane. This is all within the first chapter. He gets out of the plane and like gets on shore. Like, he survives, pilot dies, but all he has is the hatchet, really. Like, all of his stuff, everything, like the plane is like in the lake, so he basically has to like survive with just a hatchet, and he does so. And then there's like actual sequel series or sequel books to it. There's actually like a couple of different story trees. Basically, there's like 3 different like alternate. There's 3 sequels to it, basically, of like whether or not he makes it out or whether or not he like has to stay longer. And like, it's actually kind of interesting. I like that the author decided to go back and rewrite stuff. But that was one of my favorites. So yeah, big fan of like the living out in the wild storylines.
Yeah. I remember there was a story in Peru of like a kid who lived with all these llamas, and then they took the llamas into the city or something, and it turned out the kid was like actually descended of the royalty or something, the Inca royalty, and it was I remember that was a fun story.
Wow. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching so far. This has been a fun first hour, but we're going to play a little bit of an ad from Free Speech Media to give you a little bit of a taste of what else is on there, and then we'll get going. The second hour, we've got Harrison Kemp from Free Speech Media, also the author of Parasite's Paradise. So we will be right back with that.
Get ready to remove the filter from your timeline. Get ready to break the censorship of social media. Get ready to support the grassroots alternative to establishment propaganda. Get ready for an authentic voice. Get ready to resist cancel culture. Get ready for Free Speech Media. This is FSM.
Haha, Free Speech Media, y'all. And we have co-founder Harrison Kemp in his house. Harrison, what's going on, my man?
Oh, just a lot. Had a couple of committees to go testify at this morning for Defend the Guard legislation and legislation to defund our fusion center. We have one of 80 fusion centers across the country, and one of our committees was hearing ending it today. So been a busy day. What's going on with you guys?
Wow. I didn't quite do all of that, but I had quite a bit of meetings today.
Same. Lots of meetings.
Lots. Well, Stacia, I know you have to sign off, so thank you so much for coming on. Always a pleasure.
Thanks. Nice to meet you, Harrison. Have a good.
Yeah, nice to meet you. We'll have to actually talk sometime.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye.
Harrison.
Hey, man.
So you were part of my meetings today. We had quite a few meetings in the last 2 days. Oh yeah, there's a little.
There we go.
There we go.
We've been chatting. You're a good idea factory.
So here's the thing. I'm not. What I am is a good idea finder.
Okay.
Right now, normally, here's the thing. Normally, I'm a good idea factor. That's what I used to claim as myself. I always claimed I was like the ideas guy. I was like the thinker dude. And I just like thought of things and told people to do them. And like, that's how I was going to get rich and make money. No, I decided I'm not doing that anymore. What I'm doing is I'm finding other people that already had good ideas and they're running with it. And I'm fucking doing that. I'm helping them.
If it works, it works. I mean, and the whole thing is like, the only way that you can make money in today's world is if you're either helping people make money or save money. Mm-hmm. Help them get the thing they want. Like, that's the only way you can do it.
That is a fact.
Like, for instance, I used to sell cars, and I sold Hondas, which is one of the couple of brands that you can sell and not feel like a skis ball, because they don't have insanely high markups and they're good cars. They do last for a while, yada, yada. But anywho, I would always get people to understand, like, look, this car is going to save you money. Look at how much car prices have gone up in the last 5 years. You know, buy this car now rather than in 3 years when it's another $4,000 and it's the exact same car.
Yep. 1,000%.
Investing. You know, you're investing in that thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I came to you with a business proposition today that I already told people that were watching, but I'm going to pitch it just a little bit again, because we're selling weed online, like through podcasts. Like, how dope is that?
It's literally dope.
It's right.
This is, I mean, people say money doesn't grow on trees. I mean, this shit literally grows on trees. I'm so excited about this thing.
Puns.
I have actually already done like the whole affiliate application, so we're waiting on approval from them. So hopefully in the next day or two, we'll be able to move forward on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, guys. So in the chat here, and if you're watching on YouTube, there's a link tree. You can go on there, click the Nug of Knowledge in there, and it'll take you to the website, and you can look at all the wonderful CBD, CBG, and Delta 8 THC products that we have for sale. We also have some cool merch and stuff like that. If you go in there and then you use promo code UNITE, you'll get 10% off. And that is a dope ass thing that you can do. So go buy some fucking weed. And pretty soon you'll be able to actually support the entire channel with it. So, you know, it's going to be a good
definitely
time.
Looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And
I want to sell other things too.
Like shirts.
Well, I already have that. Like you can go to shop.fightforliberty.com and you can buy like shirts and mugs, hats, beanies, stuff like that for Fight for Liberty. But we need to get some of that for FSM as a whole also.
We do, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to sell books?
Tell me about some books I might be able to sell, Harrison.
Well, there's this one I actually just bought. It's called The Lobster Coast. It's by Colin Woodard. And it's probably only interesting to people in Maine, but I live in Maine and I like history. So I'm reading that book right now. That's my office book, my porch book when I go smoke a cigar. Right now I'm reading through the Communist Manifesto again, and then Das Kapital.
I almost bought that today.
You know, I have to say I disagree with it pretty vehemently, but it's important to actually read it and understand it. Otherwise, you're just disagreeing with talking points. And then when someone asks you like a clarifying question, you're like, oh, that's cultural Marxism, BLM. And it's like, none of that makes any sense. That's not a rational thought. Yeah. So if you're going to put yourself in positions where you're trying to advance the cause of liberty on economic grounds, you should at least know what your opponents are actually saying so you can give them the benefit of the doubt. Even though they probably won't do that for you, but you know, that's why we're better.
Right. We should be better though, right? Like that's the point.
We should be.
So that's something that I had a very unhealthy mindset as a growing up as a religious person, but it helped me come to this understanding for politics. And it was I was the like argue and debate people into being saved kind of person. I thought I could logic people into being Christians by like proving to them that like Islam is stupid, right? Terrible way to live life. But that's how I was at like 12. So my thought process was like, I needed to understand Islam better than any Muslim does so that I could, like, that's the only way that I could logic them out of it. If they understand their points better than I do, then I'll never be able to beat them on their points.
Right. And that's something that you should understand, whether you're talking about religion, whether you're talking about freedom, whether you're talking about a specific bill or an economic policy, is that if you are at least able to communicate with your opponent in a way that lets them know you actually understand where they're coming from and what their points of view really are, you're not painting a caricature, you're never going to get anywhere with people. You know, no one's ever gotten anywhere with me by calling me a statist and, you know, shoving my face in some policy I believed in before I started really getting into my intellectual awakening. You know, that wasn't what worked. It was people being like, hey, have you thought of it this way?
Right.
You know, I always thought I was a constitutionalist. So people would use the
stupid though, right?
It is. But see, I know those things now. Like now I realize that.
Exactly.
But it wasn't people calling me like a statist cuck that got me to transfer and shift. You know, it was the people who were like, making the logical arguments against the Constitution about how easy it is to be violated and yada, yada, yada. That's what got me to realize I was believing in something that was not worth believing in, that I should start expanding my horizons and looking for something new.
Yeah. So as we're getting into the Unity thing, I actually have a clip that I want to play. I found over the last week that I think is really dope, and I want to get your reaction on. So
let's do it.
When I look at that piece, I wasn't aware that Senator Kennedy had been the one here in Indianapolis who shared that news and how painful it was.
Yeah, but the one thing I took out of that piece was, man, I think most white people and black people are great people. I really believe that in my heart. But I think our system is set up where our politicians, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, are designed to make us not like each other so they can keep their grasp of money and power. They divide and conquer. I truly believe in my heart most white people and black people are awesome people, but we're so stupid following our politicians, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. And their only job is, hey, let's make these people not like each other. We don't live in their neighborhoods. We all got money. Let's make the whites and blacks not like each other. Let's make rich people and poor people not like each other. Let's scramble the middle class. I truly believe that in my heart. Well,
fucking beautiful, right?
Surprised he didn't get cut off.
Right. It's too good. It's too good for like cable news.
There was so much truth in what he just said. And you can see it every time that presidential elections come around. You know, Hillary Clinton knew she had the black vote. She didn't even have to campaign for it. Donald Trump, they knew that he was going to have the educated white women vote because that's always how those demographics break down.
Except for he didn't with Trump.
And I think
Biden, I mean.
Right. But that's what they plan on because in their head, they have already made that division, just like he's saying, you know.
Yep. So
I'm very surprised that was actually able to keep going.
Right. Isn't that so beautiful though? Dude, I saw that and it's crazy. I was really struggling to find a good quality clip of that.
I think you found one. That was a good one.
Yeah, but it took me like 20 minutes to find that. I could find was like phone recordings of the TV playing it.
See, I've seen headlines of him saying like they're divide and conquer us, but I hadn't actually seen the clip yet.
Yeah. Even The Hill, like I was watching the Rising with Sager and Crystal Ball. They had a fucking shitty ass recording of it. So beat you, Rising. I have better video quality than you do. Suck it. Just kidding. I love you guys. Please come on my show.
I'm better than you, but I still need you.
So honestly, you know, we were talking a little bit earlier on the show for people that were watching about like what we were trying to accomplish with this show and why there's a different show beyond what Reed and I do on our own shows. And part of it was with a nod to Rising, like that, like the banter and just like the cooperativeness between the two. I don't know if you watched that on The Hill.
No, I don't.
So it's like Bernie Bro, ex Bernie Bro chick / like semi-Trump supporter Indian dude co-hosting a daily news show. It's great.
Talking I like the idea. Yeah, I like the idea. And I've actually thought about in the past, like what could my kind of podcast contribution to the liberty movement be? And I had the concept of, and anyone is welcome to steal this. I don't believe in intellectual property, so you can take this to the bank if you want it. Having like an ANCAP and a really good communist, like a good ANCAP and a good communist, two people who are both really well read in their ideologies, and they go through the news. They go through, you know, current events and things like that.
So there's
and
the
they
United
give their take.
Voluntary Podcast.
The what?
I believe the name of the show is the United Voluntary Podcast. Hold on. I'm going to look this up on YouTube, so bear with me. Technicalities. We'll plug some friends here real quick, like actually guest on last week's show, Magnus NVIDIA. Let's see. David Fight and Liberty Lockdown. Yeah, there's the link to the episode I was on. So yeah, the United Voluntary Podcast is hosted by basically like a Boog Boy, a Rose City Antifa person, and a BLM organizer.
Intriguing. I'll have to listen to that.
Throwing this up in the comments here, and I will add it to the description here on YouTube. Boom. There you go, guys. Have fun with that. Oops. I don't think it wants me to change the description on YouTube. Oh well.
Yeah, YouTube. YouTube's not a big fan
it
of.
Looks like spam. It thinks it's spam. Oh well.
Speaking of spam,
anyway.
Speaking of spam, go to Amazon and pick up your copy of A Parasite's Paradise today.
Yeah, tell me about A Parasite's Paradise. Actually, first of all, before you actually tell me about the book, I have a question for you.
I have an answer for you.
Why a fictional novel?
Because I'm not a doctor. I'm not an economist. I'm not a member of the intelligentsia, as you could say. So what I wanted to do was build fiction around fact. So really the whole book is an allegory. Pretty much everyone in the story is someone who was a real life person who was either in the liberty movement or was a freedom type thinker at some point in history. And I was trying to think, how can I tie all of these different things together? Because I don't have a specialty. I've always kind of been a storyteller. It's something I've always enjoyed. So I just combined all of it into one. And I had a lot of free time on my hands at the time.
All right. Well, I can dig it. I like it. So tell me a little bit about what it's about.
So the book follows 88 and his story from going from slave to free man. And throughout this story, he gets himself a name. He ends up being Mr. Murray Aquinas toward the end of the book, which is obviously Murray Rothbard and Thomas Aquinas. And then he meets Irwin Schiff. Irwin Schiff, as some of you may know, is Peter Schiff's father, who was sentenced to jail for not paying income tax when he was old and already confirmed to have had cancer. So he was basically I kind of play it up a little bit like he was murdered by the state for not paying his taxes. There's a lot of kind of these hidden memory, like hidden stories in there, hidden historical people. Herbert Dow, for instance, is an American. He was an American chemical company guy. He had a chemical company where he would buy and sell, all kinds of stuff, chlorine, whatever. Well, there was this German company who was using the state of Germany and their taxes to constantly undercut him. So finally, he had to start buying from them. And then he was selling back to Germany at a markup. So he was just the whole way he was undercutting them when they were using state government power. And so I tell his story in the book. He's someone that most people have never heard of. So if I'm able to bring this little nugget of history to people, I feel like that's kind of a win, and at the end of the book, I do this thing called a decode where I really break down who is everybody, what do all the days mean. Because there's more than just names. Like there's numerology in there. At one point I had gotten kind of into like studying numerology, and because a lot of people who are like into ancient history, which is what I was going through at the time. I was studying ancient history. And with that, you end up getting into studying numerology and astrology because it was so important in ancient history, because that's the way that they would align their pyramids. That's how they would have their different ceremonies set up. So you had to know a little bit of that in order to even understand the history of what you were reading. Mm-hmm. So I had that kind of background, and I said, man, that would be really cool to tie in that element too. Because I've always really been into the kind of Gnostic stories, stuff where it's like a hidden story within a story. So if I was going to write a story, it had to be like that. Otherwise, I wouldn't want to read it.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do I get a copy?
You go to Amazon. You can either type in Harrison Kemp, or you can type in A Parasite's Paradise. You
can I get it without going to Amazon?
You can go to harrisonkemp.com. And if you go to harrisonkemp.com, you have two ways of getting it. You can unfortunately click the Amazon link and go there. Or you have the option of, there's a donate link there. If you donate to me, I have a lot of projects going on. If you donate to me in general, then I send you a signed copy of the book without you having to go through Amazon. Okay. But David, I think we talked about this at some point. I haven't confirmed this, but I'm not going to deny it because it sounds cool. Every time you buy from Amazon, they lose money.
I mean, I've heard that argument, but I also continuously say that I've never given Amazon a dime of my money, and I kind of want to keep it that way.
But you could say now that you're stealing money from them. That's even better.
I'd rather just give you some Bitcoin at a Pork Fest for it.
Well, for all that, we'll trade. We'll figure something out. We'll go back to the barter system.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I'll give you some weed for it or something. Do you smoke?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought so. I was making sure that we could still be friends. Why are you not smoking right now, bro?
Because I live in an apartment.
Oh, that's fair. Sucky. Well, if you guys want to be able to smoke indoors, there's this wonderful new THC product made out of Delta 8 THC that is legal in America now, thanks to Donald Trump's wonderful new laws, that you can smoke in a pen like this, and it doesn't smell like shit. And you can go buy that on nugofknowledge.com. So it's a great time. I'm gonna love doing this, dude. I'm gonna talk this shit up so much. I'm gonna be really bad, especially on the Monday night shows.
I enjoy the vape pens. They are a really convenient way to get stoned, and they're a really convenient way to catch your level. Like for me, I use marijuana usually for pain. That's my biggest issue is pain. Bad knees, bad shoulders, bad back. So tinctures is what I really use most often. They have the best effect overall. I know exactly how to dose it. So that's the way I usually go. But if you've got a professional job, you got to work. Those vape pens are the best way to do it. Or you've got to travel. I mean, I'm not telling you to break the law. I'm just telling you that you can easily travel with your vape pen.
Mm-hmm. And especially if it's these, then it's completely legal to do so. So how much do you know about Delta 8?
I don't. I don't know much.
Okay, so I'll try to be as not obnoxiously technical and scientific. I need to figure out a better way to pitch this, especially if I'm going to sell it, because there is a lot of science involved if you don't know a lot about weed.
Well, I used to be a botanist, so I think I might be able to hang with you.
Dope. Okay, so you know how there's THC and CBD and CBG and CBN and all of these different things inside of weed, right?
Mm-hmm. Cannabinoids. The spectrum.
Yes. So also within the cannabinoid of THC, there is a couple of different strains, or a couple of different kinds, namely Delta 8 and Delta 9 are the two most common. Delta 9 is 100 times more common than Delta 8. So that's what's in most weed. That's normally what you're getting high on is Delta 9 THC. when Trump legalized CBD last year, or back in 2018, you can't really get rid of THC completely out of the plant. There has to be a little bit in it, but for whatever reason, they only limited legally the amount of Delta 9 THC that could be allowed in a product, completely leaving Delta 8 to be used however the fuck we wanted, completely legal. So like legally, this is like CBD because it contains below the legal limit of Delta 9 THC because it's all Delta 8. But to stay legal, it has to contain like no additives, no anything like that. It is completely 100% hemp derived. It has to be like super crystal clear, and like you can actually see. Maybe you can't. Let's see if it'll.
Yeah, no,
focus.
I can see right through it actually.
Super clear. Yeah, it's crystal clear. And yeah, so I'm a big fan of it because of that, and also. With Nug of Knowledge, they also sell CBD and CBG products on top of it. So, you were talking about the spectrum. It's important to get more than just THC, really. If you really want like the good high, like if you want like real weed high, and especially if like pain is your thing, THC isn't the most important one for pain relief. Necessarily, like CBD and CBG are actually really important for that. So you're going to want to try like hit the spectrum, but you can smoke this and smoke the actual flower of the CBD and CBG stuff combination and get that whole or most of that that entourage effect, that full spectrum of the cannabinoids that you would get from normal weed. And
yeah, this is the tincture I use. If I can come over here, it's a 50-50 mix basically. So it's 1-to-1 with CBD and THC. It really helps with the inflammation the most.
Mm-hmm.
The problem like I have is I'll wake up in the morning and my back is so stiff I can't even put my slippies on.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got real problems. And too, I find of course I look gorgeous right here. No one can attest any different, but I am very overweight, David, and it's not good. So what I've been trying to do, because the old adage of stoners and munchies.
This came in that you look gorgeous.
Thank you, Unity Griff. I appreciate that. You're gorgeous too.
He is actually.
But the God's honest truth is it's not healthy. It's if you want to have a long, healthy lifestyle, you need to actually, or not even if you want to have a healthy lifestyle, even if you just want to enjoy your life when you're 60, which doesn't sound that far away, but when I was 10, 30 didn't sound far away, and yet here we are.
Right. Yeah. Can relate.
David, you live in New York, right?
Actually, real quick, I want to address something in the comments because this is important. This is a myth. So CBD does not actually cancel out the effects of THC. That is that's actually just like one of those random like myths that we learn. Like I thought that for years and years. I literally used to have like CBD like flower on me to like get somebody on high. The thing is, if someone is having that like too high kind of experience, then some CBD could actually like help them out, can like bring them back down because it'll like even them out, because that too high is just THC, so it'll like kind of bring them back down into that medium. But yeah, no, it doesn't make you like less high to smoke CBD.
Yeah, they attach to different receptors in the brain. You have cannabinoid receptors in the brain. I think you have 97 of them, and each one of them is very important, but they all attach to different parts of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. So if you are having an overload on one part of your cannabinoid system, helping to counterbalance it by, activating a different part, or even I found that if someone is too high on marijuana, really what you want to do, even though they're going to hate you, is walk them around for 5 minutes, get their blood moving, get them breathing, and they're going to be fine. They'll work through the panic attack that they want to have because they're going to start breathing anyway. So that's really the move.
Yeah, physical, like physical movement. Like you said, get the blood moving, get them breathing, get them drinking some water. That's the kind of like quick thing. Honestly, my friend Zach Josephs is really good with what he likes to call anti-drugs. So like one of my favorite tricks that I learned is I'm not sure if you are a fan of the psychedelic arts.
Have you? Oh, of the arts? Yes.
Well, I meant the drugs. Yeah. Arts like the dark arts. Like I don't know what I was talking. So ketamine specifically.
From dark arts to ketamine. I like it.
Yeah. So ketamine, if you're in a K-hole, like almost any like amount of sugar will bring you out of a K-hole. You pop a Jolly Rancher in your mouth when you're like in a K-hole, you're good. Like minute and a half, you're good. They'll just bring you right out.
I did not know that, actually.
Well, now you do. Like this guy saves lives, bro.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna try to have him at Porkfest to help make sure that we don't all die.
Yeah, we'll just bring a bunch of Jolly Ranchers. I think that's a good idea. Sugar cubes.
Can someone bring ketamine to Porkfest for me?
And then you'll bring the sugar. That's the trade-off.
I'll bring the sugar. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll pay for it. I'll pitch in, but yes.
You know what have you ever seen acid dripped onto sugar cubes before?
Yeah.
Is that a thing? You've seen that? You've come across that? How would you compare the potency of that to like a tab?
So I get this bomb ass tab. Hold on, let me. I only have one tab left of what I've got, but I will show you what it looks like. Haha. I love Griffin. He said taking a 2-day Twitter break and coming back to this convo is why I love Twitter. Same, bro. Same. I also took a 2-day break, so 100% same. Yeah, I get these little pyramid things. And they are beautiful. And they like one tab fucks me right the fuck up sometimes, but I still usually take like 3 or 4. It really just depends.
Yeah, you should definitely fucking leave those home when we go to Porkfest. I don't want to fucking be anywhere near you with those.
Oh, don't worry, there'll be acid there. So actually, Friday night I took an acid trip, and I was on like a 2-hour video call with Stacia and Magnus Panvidia talking about stuff, and he was just like sitting in front of his like rainbow Gadsden flag and his like other Boogaloo flag, cleaning his AR. And he's just got like a big ass beard, and I was just like tripping out with like the colors and like his movement of like cleaning the gun and like doing the stuff, and it was just like moving in front of all the colors behind him while his beard was like literally like his beard was moving. It wasn't, but it was moving, and he was like kind of coming out of the screen a little bit, just a little 3D. It was a great time. It was like,
dude, I tell you what, you should. I know you hate Amazon, but they have this amazing show called Humankind: The History of All of Us, and it's this from the time right before we were humans all the way up to today. You know, the entire evolution progression of humanity, and most of it, I don't know how true it is, but I'll tell you, when you're on a couple grams of mushrooms, it's the most fucking interesting thing in the world. Like, they've got just enough animations to keep you captivated, and there's enough really cool action scenes where you're like, that's cool, but then it doesn't bring you too far, you know? It like brings you right to the level, and then it drops you back down. It was great.
Nice.
It was a good way to spend a Saturday, I'll tell you.
I can respect it.
You're in New York, right?
Yeah.
Like the city, or you're in northern New York?
I'm upstate currently.
Upstate. Do you guys have a problem with homelessness, like a bad one?
So in Syracuse, a little bit. Not as bad as other parts of the country, though.
And Maine, it's not all that bad. I mean, it's unfortunate, but statistically speaking, it's not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Portland, Augusta, and Bangor are really the three, in Lewiston, are really the four places that have homelessness in any amount. There really are only cities is the thing. We only really have four places where you could even be homeless and it be feasible. There's no support system anywhere else. Mm-hmm. So it's unfortunate, but it's something that's on my brain because I just wrote, like, I don't know whether it's an article. I've turned it into a booklet. It's going to be part of the series I'm working on. But I told you yesterday I had that idea that all politicians should have podcasts. You said it's a horrible idea, and I probably agree with you. But out of principle, I have to stick with it because I'm hard-headed. What I'm doing,
Strong
though,
opinions loosely held. That's the key.
What I am working on right now is a project to basically write out, like, from my libertarian perspective, the anarchist perspective, how can we solve some of these really important issues like homelessness, the military, the roads, yada, yada, in a policy way? Like, how can I, as someone who's trying to implement policies that can lead to my preferred society, what is going to be the outcome of those policies? How is that actually going to shape itself? And it's something that really hasn't been done by any politician in a very long time. I mean, they write their white papers, but they're so complicated to read, no one does.
Right.
This is like, it's basically a 20-page Word doc length of stuff written in layman's English. Like I said, I'm not a member of the intelligentsia. I almost have an associate's degree. So a lot of people reading the shit are probably smarter than I am. I just laser focus in on one thing.
Yeah. So we do have a comment from we have a question from the comments that I will let you answer. How does anarchy support policy? Generally asking. Seems contradictory of anarchy as I'm assuming of anarchy as a concept. So
No,
how do you implement policy as an anarchist, Harrison?
So here's what it really comes down to, is that being an anarchist is something right now you really can only have in philosophy, because unless you're willing to completely withdraw from all of society, you're going to remain part of the state.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Well, I would love to do it. I just don't have the means to. Like, how great would it be if we can get your Tennessee idea going? I'd be there in a second. But here's what it comes down to is, anarchy is about having no rulers. So if you can institute policies that reduce the government, nullify any of their intrusions into our actual lives, into the things we are supposed to be able to do as free people, then you're taking steps to get to your preferred society. I would prefer that we have no state, so I'm going to make little steps to get there. That's that.
Thank you for that. That was a great explanation. So yeah, policy, it's basically, it's the concept of using the unfortunate existence of rulers to try to reduce how much rule they have, right? That's a nice, simplistic way to say it.
It's not the most efficient system. Like, if we could get everyone to simultaneously opt out, that is the best way to do it.
Would be great.
But truly, I think through politics is one of the easier ways to even educate people. Gets you the most screen time, gets you the biggest email lists. So, but I don't think it's for everyone. And I don't think that it should be our sole focus. I think it should be part of the plan. We should focus on writing books and podcasts and strategic withdrawal, agorism. We should focus on homeschooling and private schooling and all of these important things that also go into reducing the power of the state. But there should be a small wing of us who do this other avenue, the political avenue, where we try to reduce the power that the state has through legal means. Because unfortunately, if we don't, they're just going to continue to grow. The fact we opt out doesn't mean anything to them.
Yes. Yeah. I like that you said that it doesn't mean anything to them, because it shouldn't, right? That's the key, in my opinion. What makes anarchy different than anything else is voluntary, right? Like,
yes.
We had a conversation the name of last week's episode was on the merits of anarchy. So we had Magnus on, actually. It was me, Magnus, and Reed basically trying to convince Stacia that she's an anarchist. We basically, in my mind, we got there. She won't use the word, but she said basically that she agrees with anarchy. She just doesn't like calling it anarchy, almost. But she disagrees with parts of it. There needs to be more conversation there. But we did some good ground. But Magnus said that the federal government could exist the exact same way that it does right now, but allow people to completely opt out of it, and it would still be technically considered anarchy.
Correct. Because here's the thing, right? And I think that anarchy has really been given a horrible name, and it's really been misunderstood because politicians use it anytime someone starts burning a police station or causing a ruckus. So people think of it as just this pure chaos where there's all this fighting. And that's not what it is. It's a system of no rulers. It's all it simply means is no one person has the bullhorn and is sitting on the cardboard box telling you what to do. So I am open to the idea of people using the term, and I'm actually probably going to end up at some point going over the term voluntarious rather than anarchist or
big fan.
I've also called myself, but see, I like the word anarchist. I don't usually put in there like capitalist. I just call myself an anarchist.
Yeah.
Because the big key to me is as long as it's all consensual, I'm okay with it. Like I will live in, I would not prefer to live in an anarcho-communist society because communism has some very severe economic flaws. But I would much prefer to live in that.
Depending on how big it is, I'd be super down.
Well, and this is the thing, right? I probably would be too, depending on the size. It's when it gets too big, you know. Like I was telling you yesterday, man, I'm a hippie.
Never apologize for drinking, ever. Sorry.
Oh no, don't.
Yeah.
Especially not at this time of night.
Sorry for blowing up the chat. Fuck you. Don't blow up the chat.
Don't apologize for being
awesome.
Do a
shot and then blow up the chat more.
And then share it with your friends.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You tag your entire friends list in the chat.
Yes. Retweet and tag all of the Liberty Unity movement and tell them to all do a shot in your honor.
That's what ooh, there you go. I like that move.
We partying on Monday nights up in this bitch. This become ungovernable. You are the power.
I'm joining the party. I'm drinking hard water. So
hard water. I have a bottle of rum up there, but I have nothing to put it in. Like mix wise. I could just drink it straight, but I don't think I'm gonna do that.
Rum straight isn't great.
Actually, this rum is pretty good. So I'm actually really happy with this purchase. Oh man, we got the green. It's a green bottle. Actually, but you can kind of tell what it says in the green bottle almost.
It's all I can see is white.
Yeah, it's recipe 21. This bottle was $8.99. For a good size. Like, I mean, you can see how big it is, right?
Yeah.
Like,
when you hold it in front of your shirt, I can see it.
Yeah. Put it in the group chat. Nice. All right.
Look at that. Oh, and you're drinking out of the Labatt Blue mug. Very classy. We run a classy ship over here at FSM, I tell you.
Oh, yes, we do. So, Harrison Kemp, tell people why they should go follow us on Trovo and DLive and Facebook.
Because we put out amazing content 7 days a week. And every single day that you come to check out our network, you are helping to break the mainstream media that you claim to despise. You're helping to break up the monopoly of information that, whoa, that thing just popped up on the screen. You're helping to break the monopoly of information and help to defeat this tech censorship crap that's going on. I mean, we're trying to work to buy our own server so that way we're actually literally uncensorable. We will own part of the internet. Once we have that, the sky's the limit. You know, the only thing that stops people like us, like your content, David, is so amazing. The only thing that's ever going to stop you is all of the tech companies saying no. Mm-hmm. But once we can take this and get this collective we have people from all over the libertarian spectrum. We've got Johnny Lemuria, who's a libertarian socialist. We've got David Feit, who's, you know what, David, you are what, some kind of anarcho-pragmatist?
Ooh.
Is that a good term for you?
Fuck yes. I am going to use that forever. Thank you. I like that. Because yeah, I'm actually a state coordinator in the Pragmatist Caucus, but yeah, I'm an anarchist. So
so we've got so right there, that on its own is actually a fairly big spectrum. And then
anarcho-pragmatist by itself is a big spectrum.
Then
I am the spectrum.
I am the spectrum. Then you got Roger. Roger hosts this. Have you been on his show to debate yet, David?
Not yet, no.
You should.
I would love
man.
to. I will fucking wreck anyone on any topic.
It's so fun. He does a pretty good job over there. Of keeping everything even. He's got a timer.
He got us good. We are the spectrum.
We played ourselves on that one.
Oof. Congratulations. You played yourself.
The biggest reason to go check out Free Speech Media, honestly, is because it's the easiest way to support the content you want to see. You're not going to find content like this anywhere else. And if you do find content like this anywhere else, send them our way because we want them, because they're part of our team and they should be with us. You know, the whole idea of this as well is kind of building on your liberty movement bottom unity idea, is that we want to represent the whole libertarian sphere, the whole spectrum, since that's what we're on anyhow. We might as well just play into it, David. We want to represent the whole spectrum, and we want it to be not like, oh, let's take, because, you know, I make no bones about it. I am a capitalist in the dirty word, you know. So I don't want to go out there and find someone who's not like a good libertarian socialist who's going to paint that whole movement as idiots who can't even change a tire. So we got Johnny Lemuria. Johnny Lemuria, the Reverend Johnny Lemuria. Let me fix myself. Highly intelligent, highly articulate. Well, and this dude not only is like into the libertarianism stuff, but he goes all over the intellectual spectrum of stuff you just aren't supposed to talk about. Right. You know. And then we've got Wow, I almost called him Bill Barr. Bill Burr. Well, no, not well.
Bill
what the
Barger.
Hell is his name?
Bill
Barger.
Rough. Some
Hey,
fucking owner you are.
I just compared him to the best comedian in the game right now.
I mean,
he can get
fair.
over it.
Yeah.
You know. But I don't even know what to like. How do you classify a show like his where he goes literally
vehemently politically incorrect?
Yes. Vehemently politically incorrect. But he will hit the subjects of the day like no one else will. And he'll talk to people that in a way that is so real that most
He was
people
actually
don't.
on this show 2 weeks ago.
It was a great show. It was a great
time.
show.
Thank you.
He's willing to talk to people in a way that most people aren't. He's just willing to be real, you know. And I had a chance to meet him in person and actually watch him interact with people, and he's the same way in person. You know, it's not. Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah. Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So also,
he's
guys,
Bill.
yeah, he is Bill. So, guys, if this sounds like something that's really cool to you, and you're thinking, well, you know, I don't want to make a podcast because there's already too many libertarian podcasts, and we need like to kill some of them off anyway. But I'd love to help this thing be a thing. We are looking for some interns to help us out with video editing, with managing the social media, with a couple of other things. So if that's something you're interested in, there's a link in the chat that I just posted down there for the YouTube chat. It's not in the Twitter thing, unfortunately, but you can go to Free Speech Media's Facebook, which is in that link tree, and it'll take you to that link, or you can find that thing there to apply to be one of our interns to help us out, because free speech is not necessarily free or easy. So we definitely need we could use some help. So if you want to help out, definitely fill out that application, get it over to us. We could use some people.
That's right. You will be paid in having your face and words eventually and occasionally on a nationally syndicated program.
As well as actually paid in real dollars here pretty soon. Like let's be real,
eventually.
we're going to be doing paid in Dogecoin, possibly,
depending on what it goes up to.
Yeah.
Depending on what it goes up to. And of course, experience. Like that's one of the big things that I wish when I was starting to kind of get into this digital media thing that I had looked into was an internship rather than, you know, going full bore and trying to learn all of it on my own. I wish that I had learned from someone for 6 months. All right, how do I do all this editing? How do I do this and that? But what we're looking for is someone who kind of already knows how to do that stuff. You know, someone who already has a set of skills that they're trying to maybe enhance a little bit.
A certain set of skills.
Yeah, you know, you want to enhance your skills. You know, you do need to traverse the world in order to find. Damn it! I screwed that whole pun up. I screwed it up. I forgot the movie.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I've actually never seen the movie, to be perfectly honest with you. I'll admit that on live television here.
Yeah, I wasn't taken to the theaters to see it.
Air 5, that was great. So also, people, if you're like, well, I don't have any of those skills, but what I do want to do is travel the country and like use my camera to record shit and live stream stuff that is cool that's going on. Still fill out that thing and talk to me, because we've got some positions doing that too that we're going to need some people for here in the very near future, because Free Speech Media is covering the stuff that the real news media, or the fake news media, let's call it that. We can call it that. Trump's out of office. He doesn't own that title anymore. The fake news media doesn't want to cover what's going on in your state houses and the rallies, the protests, the gunfights, and the literal flashbangs being dropped out of helicopters that's happening in your streets and in your cities. So we're going to do it. So if you want to help out with that, hit us up.
That's right. If you want to get flashbanged, let us know. We'll pay you in a couple of Dogecoin eventually. But on a real note, all jokes aside, we do need people who can go around in your communities. And if you live in the Austin area, there's a big event that David will be at coming up. He needs someone to help because he'll be speaking. And we would really like to have that broadcast on the network so that way he can have his I don't even know really what you're talking about.
So actually, yeah, I'll pitch this. So yeah, we are crowdfunding for tickets to get me and Magnus to Austin on April 24th. So if you would like to, help out with that, Linktree/Fight for Liberty. You can donate there. Would super appreciate it. And me, Magnus, Dan Berman, and a couple of other organizers from various anti-establishment, some slightly militant, some slightly anarchist, and some libertarian organizations are going to be all speaking on unity and kind of coming together. And basically what Charles Barkley was saying, pushing out against this Republicrat bullshit, this divide and conquer mentality. So yeah, we are we're going to be there trying to get as many people as we can. Like I said, yeah, it's me, it's Magnus, it's Trent Banshee, he's the founder of the Redacted Caucus. Magnus, there's going to be somebody from Antifa, somebody from BLM, somebody from a whole bunch of different it's really going to be a good time. We're trying to get as many people as we can, since Texas is mostly opened up and it's outside anyway. For those of you that are in some of those organizations and need to hear this, we are asking that you don't come armed. This isn't really a gun rights rally, or really like we don't anticipate there being really any negative police presence. Austin has been pretty nice to protesters thus far, and so we're really we're trying to be as welcoming to like every anti-establishment group as possible. So some people are going to be turned off by that, so we're just trying to be welcoming to everyone. We're not going to turn you away if you are armed, though. We are still welcoming to everyone. So but please just don't show up with like an AR across your chest, like concealed carry or something like that, or have a sidearm, something like that. Be reasonable, guys. Like, that's all I'll say.
Yeah, so go to linkter.re/Fight for Liberty, right?
Yeah.
Donate to your trip.
Mm-hmm.
That would be amazing for you to be down there. And make sure that you are around that day to check it out, because we'll be hopefully having that right on the air. We've got a couple of other awesome events coming up. We've got a big event in Pennsylvania coming up. I think it's next month. My memory is not serving me correct. I think it's next month, same weekend as their convention.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be there for the convention, and then the Mises Caucus is putting on a big event with a couple of people.
Yes.
Dave Smith will be there. It'll be Dave Smith. Who the hell else? Michael Rechtenwald, Jeff Tucker. No, not Jeff Tucker. I'm sorry. Jeff Deist. And then I don't remember who the fourth is, but Hotep Jesus pulled out. So there's 4 speakers, and then they're working on getting a 5th, who I think is. I offered to speak, but they don't want to hear me speak.
Well, while we're talking about fun announcements with Dave Smith, Free Speech Media and Fight for Liberty will be hosting Dave Smith in 2 weeks. On April 27th at 8 p.m. live on YouTube and Free Speech Media. Dave Smith. So check that out, y'all.
You heard it here, folks. The exclusive interview.
Yeah, boy.
The exclusive, where he finally gets asked the hard question. David.
No. Well, not even the hard question, where he finally gets asked real fucking questions instead of like questions about feelings and potatoes and
you're not going to ask him the hard question of, David, you've platformed all these bigots. Doesn't that make you one? You're not going to ask him that? No one's ever asked him that before. I think the world needs to hear it for the first time.
Literally no one has ever asked him that question. So maybe I will. But actually, I think I'm going to ask him like what his first economics book that he read was, shit like that. That's the kind of stuff I'm intrigued by.
My first economics book was, what was it? It was a Milton Friedman book, Capitalism and Freedom, I think.
Dope. I'm with it. I've been posting daily Friedman quotes on my Twitter every day for the last 2 weeks, which has been fun because I actually haven't read that much of him. So getting to read all of these Milton Friedman quotes is really a good time. It's like a new one every day.
Yeah, there's a lot of quotes out there from the Friedman. He was a pretty good one. I mean, he's definitely an efficiency expert for the state, but a lot of economists are. So, I mean, you can't. What are you going to hold against the guy? The fact that he's not an anarchist. Most people aren't. So,
right.
I always find it funny when
because
I study. I mostly study Austrian economics. That's the school I devote most of my time and effort to trying to expand. And when I hear fellow Austrians really shit on Milton Friedman because he's not an anarchist, I'm like, so are 99% of the world. They're not anarchists. No one is an anarchist. They're all efficiency experts for the state. So you need a little bit better argument than that if you're going to convince the major populace to come over to your side of thinking on these economic reforms, But with that, because I just said some things that could lead to misunderstandings. First off, Austrian economics is not a system that preaches anarchy. It's a value-free system. It doesn't give you any real form of government. It just lays out a system of thought on what policies are going to cause, how they're going to happen, and it's all done in the framework of studying human action. The actual scientific understanding of how humans in the market interact with each other and how those interactions cause prices and goods to fluctuate. Well, and so this is where it gets funny, because when you can technically have someone who's a Keynesian but is an anarchist.
Yes.
But it seems contradictory in terms. It's very common to find, on the surface level it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, on the surface level, it's very contradictory, but you dig deeper down into it, and it's all philosophical stuff anyway. So, but you meet a lot of Austrians, and they're either anarchists or they're very small minarchists. Hayek wasn't an anarchist. Mises wasn't an anarchist. They were both classical liberals. Bastiat wasn't an anarchist. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up, because if there was any fans of Austrian economics out there, I was about to get torn to shit in the comments. And I don't want to upset my fellow nerds. But you had a thing to ask.
Okay. Well, hold on. I'm going to have to go back to the webpage because apparently I didn't copy paste the specific quote into the Google Doc. So give me 2 seconds, because there was a really fun Milton Friedman quote about Keynes that I found today. So I'm going to find it real quick and read it to everyone real quick as we wrap up to promote.
Is it the one where he calls him a socialist?
No, it's actually a really nice quote. Here we go. So to wrap up this evening, ladies and gentlemen, I will close out with a Milton Friedman quote. Keynes was a great economist. In every discipline, progress comes from people who make hypotheses, most of which turn out to be wrong, but all of which ultimately point to the right answer. Now, Keynes, in the general theory of employment, interest, and money, set forth a hypothesis which was a beautiful one, and it really altered the shape of economics. But it turned out that it was wrong hypothesis. That doesn't mean that he wasn't a great man.
Yeah, that's
fucking beautiful.
It is.
Some serious unity. Well, Harrison, tell people where they can find you and how they can support you one more time.
Go to harrisonkemp.com. You can find my book, A Parasite's Paradise. You can also find my booklet, A Brief Inquiry into the Causes and Solutions Surrounding Homelessness, where I go through what is causing homelessness in my state of Maine. And it's most of the same things that are affecting it in yours. And I just give you the logical, common sense solutions on what we can do to fix the problem without the state. It's and it doesn't even come down to, I'm going to get off on a 20-second tangent. It doesn't come down to, oh, we just need a magical charity to come in and fix things. No, these are real practical things that you could actually see happening within a few months time frame. So go to harrisonkemp.com. Also, I'm the treasurer and legislative director for the Free Maine PAC. We are running a citizens initiative to reduce the governor's authority during a state of emergency. So go to freemainpac.com, hit the donate button, donate to us there. We're also working to end no-knock raids in the state of Maine. I have written a bill that's been sponsored by a couple of reps in our state house. So we're getting that pushed through. So yeah, go to freemainpac.com for that. And go to facebook.com/free speech media. Make sure you hit that like button. Give us a follow. And make sure that you're liking and following on what Dave's doing. Especially, he's got his 2 shows here. He's got Friends for Unity, and then he's got Fight for Liberty. So make sure you're liking both of those because they're both great shows. And if you're missing them, you're missing the party.
Well, I appreciate that endorsement. And guys, once again, if you want to smoke some legal weed, go to nugofknowledge.com. Buy some shit. Use promo code UNITE because that's what we're doing here. We're uniting everyone. Use that promo code. You'll get 10% off your first order, and you will also help me make a little bit of money. So, and I would really appreciate that, like a lot. So please do that. And also, it's good for you. Smoke weed, chill out. It's a great time, guys. Thanks for watching. Harrison, thanks for coming on.
I'm happy to come on anytime, my friend. Thank you for having me. It was good talking to you again.
You as well, guys. We'll catch you back here next time.